Hey gamers, I am the Bad Luck Gamer, and today I want to talk about in my new segment, I don't know, games, just games. I don't know. I want to call it something interesting, and something that'll catch people's eyes, but I don't know. I don't know what to call this segment. It's where I talk about video games and board games, mostly video games. Uh, anyway, what I want to talk about in this video is what I want to see in more games, or at least games I play. Now, everyone is different. Everyone looks for different things in games. I completely understand that, and I embrace that. In fact, if you have any ideas of things you want in games, please leave a message in the comments below. I might even make a video based on people's suggestions, just so that people, or maybe even game companies, that if they ever watch my videos, if pigs fly, I want them to see this video and see what people who are playing games actually want to look for. First and foremost, something I look for in games is what I look for in games is options of things, like ways that can take care of a situation. I don't care what kind of game it is. I just like having options. Most of the time, this comes as ability options. Like, I want to have a character with more customized abilities to my playstyle. I hate being kind of pushed into a corner because a game lacks a certain mechanic that I like, or just that a character is a certain way. I want to be given skill options. Borderlands kind of dropped the ball on this. They had some interesting mechanics that they threw in that I really liked. But overall, the game was just kind of simple because it was shoot your gun and throw your ability. That was it. There wasn't really much more to it. But then again, I liked Borderlands. I really like Borderlands. I think it's a great game. Uh, Games like Destiny really made me depressed because it was like an RPG game, but then there wasn't really an RPG element because all you did was change how your grenades worked. There wasn't really any different skill. You threw a grenade, or you threw a knife, yeah, or you punched. It was all really similar, and I feel like in a futuristic game like that, there should be different kind of abilities. Like maybe a punch creates a chain lightning effect, that affects targets from a distance. I don't know. Those are just things that I really look for. Is just, can I play this game differently every time I decide to pick it up? That's kind of the one thing I really look for. Is like, can I make inventive strategies, or are there a plethora of different ways I can play a character, and can I find a particular style that I really like? Another thing I look for in games is, especially with action games, I really want high mobility and high kind of. I want to feel really in control of the character without a kind of clunky combat system. Like maybe making it so that when you attack a creature from different ranges, it creates different attacks. Like if you're just on the tip of your sword range, maybe your character lunges in with a basic attack or something like that. Or maybe if your character's too close to an enemy and does a power attack, he dashes backwards and does a power attack. Just kind of actual movements you would make in actual combat based on how close you are to your opponent. Obviously, a badass warrior like Nero or Dante, or a huge plethora of other characters, isn't going to throw their sword in a flurry in front of their opponent and miss them. I don't want the game to be easy mode. Don't get me wrong. I don't want the game to be like every time I press a button, I'm going to hit someone guaranteed. But I don't want it to feel like I'm just on the edge of my sword range, and they would obviously move in closer or back out depending on the type of attack, and just kind of have I don't know. I just wish for something like that. I also really want some kind of environmental mobility that isn't necessarily platforming to get to another section. Like, I want there to be options to do a wall kick forward so that your character can gain a new position on your opponent, or maybe even wall kick and a down, like a twirling slash or something before they hit the ground. Or, you know, I want there to be speed in games, like a sprint, like a combat sprint, where your character does like an actually really fast sprint across the battlefield, something like that, where it makes you feel more in control of the battlefield and in more control of the game. And it also feels more actiony and more, I don't know, more badass in a sense, more like intuitive and like actual combat. That's something I really want to see in games, a very adaptive kind of fighting style, and that takes the case by case scenarios into consideration. The last thing I'm going to mention today I want to see in games is I want to see more MMO type games, or at least more RPG-esque games that have serious PvP aspects that aren't made super meta. Or for instance, I want there to be PvP specific MMOs, like a gladiator style game, depending on whatever fantasy, where the game is kind of like RPG esque. And the fact that you get to choose your abilities and how they interact and maybe purchase different types of armor that do different types of things. But that has a heavy PvP element because I really want to get into MMOs. I've been trying to get into MMOs for years and years. But the thing that always stops me and the thing that I just have my hardest time getting into is grinding. I just can't grind. It bothers me to do something repetitiously, over and over and over and over, and that aren't really intuitive to how you play. I just and like I played the Elder Scrolls Online. I played a lot of games, and a lot of it was just let's see how many freaking quests we can do in a short amount of time. Now raids and dungeons are interesting because they have more aspects to it, but at the same time, they always play usually the same. So I don't know. I mean, the raids and dungeons I don't have as big a problem with because they're usually more interesting than a standard quest. But I hate having to do a billion quests and playing for 40 hours to get to the max level so I can do those kind of things. And I really prefer PvP because I like testing myself against other players. So I want to play PvP, but I don't want to play in a PvP kind of like how WoW has become, where there's just certain classes that are just ridiculously OP. They're really hard to get around and they're really hard to play anything differently or play with a different kind of skill set. I want there to be like a balanced PvP based MMO. That would be really cool to me. All right, so ciao for now, gamers. Good luck with whatever kind of games or ideas you have. Please leave messages for me in the comments below for your ideas. And hey, like I said, I might even make a video based on it. Anyway, gamers, good luck gaming.